back and see how teams fared with their draft picks. It's something that we're doing, I guess, into the second week of this action because it is spring, so it's time for a little. Everybody loves a spring fling, don't you? Of course you do. So last week we had each division in the NFC, so of course it's the other conference that we need to dig into with the AFC East. I want to start with Nate and the Jets. I want you to take a look here. According to NFL.com, they needed a quarterback. Well, they got one, a cornerback. They needed an offensive line, an edge rusher, and a tight end. Who's your fave on this list? Who do you want to give some love to?
Seems like they addressed everything they needed. I love the first two picks because right out the gate, they're addressing the offensive side of the ball. So shout out to Wilson and Vera Tucker. But I want to focus on Elijah Moore, wide receiver. 4.35 speed, absolutely electric, is going to add such an element to this team. It's something we haven't seen in quite some time. I remember Robbie Anderson being on the Jets, and he was so explosive. But it was just this big question mark surrounding him, and even the fans, they were in, they were out, they loved how he played, but they always questioned, is he a number one? Is he a number one? Now, Robbie Anderson aside, I believe he's proven that in Carolina, but they brought in Corey Davis, and he's proven to be a number one when he was in Carolina. With the Titans. And then you bring in Elijah, who immediately, if you watch him play in Ole Miss, he can do it all. Outside, inside. You can use him in the backfield, the jet sweeps. You add that type of athleticism with the athleticism of the quarterback they brought in, Zach Wilson, all of a sudden, this Jets offense, complete makeover out of nowhere. And I know we're not really talking about them in the AFC East, but just watch out because I feel like they're going to catch traction sooner than later. And I feel like this offense is going to be fantastic. This was a value pick, and I believe he could have went earlier. And if you look at a couple of guys that went from Ole Miss before him, DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, they are putting out playmakers that are ready to play right now. Elijah falls right in line in that.
And you've talked a lot about him leading up to the draft. He's got a nice landing spot now. Okay, Kyle, look at the Patriots, what they did. And first, what NFL.com said, they needed a quarterback, a wide receiver, cornerback, linebacker, and defensive line. Here's the drafted players. Who do you like?
Well, a lot of those needs you mentioned, they seem to fill if you look at the names, the bottom 5 of those, but I'm going to look right to the top. The only person on this list who's going to have books written about his rookie year, Michael McCorkle-Jones, Mac Jones. I've said this all along, the Buccaneers are coming to Foxborough. That guy's going to be walking on the field like that, maybe to start against Tom Brady when we find out the schedule this week. I don't know. We sat there and we said for weeks and weeks and weeks, the Pats are going to be so aggressive in the draft. They were crazy in free agent. They're going to be aggressive. Nope, not really. They just sat there, and the guy fell to him. And something happened that hasn't happened since the 70s. Bill Belichick was on a coaching staff that took a first-round quarterback. The last time that happened was in 1979 when they drafted Phil Simms, and Belichick was a special teams assistant for the New York Giants. That's how much he liked Mac Jones. He loved him, I guess, because he just took 30, 40 years of history and said, we're changing it up. So it almost makes you think, if they are going to ride with Cam this year, they really liked Mac Jones enough to take him in the first round. If they're going to ride with Cam, you would think, let's win this division. Let's get a wide receiver. Let's get somebody else who's going to help Cam. Not at all. They went the complete opposite direction. That tells you how much they like Mac Jones, and I think how much Mac Jones is going to play this year. I think when Brady returns, I think it's Brady versus, never mind the return of the Mac. The Mac will already be there. It's the return of the GOAT, and he'll be going against this rookie. It's a crazy pick that none of us really saw at that position, but Belichick made it.
And you want that game on your wish list to be late in the season, right?
I want it late because Brady plays his best football late, and I want it wintry in Foxborough. I'm thinking like a week 16 when all the stakes are there and Brady has hit his stride. That's what I want.
A wintry mix?
Leave those Tom Ford sunglasses down in Tampa.
Yeah, none of that. I want real, old school.
All right, next up, Kim, you've got the Bills. Now, NFL.com said they needed an edge rusher, a cornerback, a tight end, running back, and offensive line. Here's all the players drafted. What is your favorite pick of the bunch?
Well, guys, I think it has to be Greg Rousseau, and that's because he did have one big season at Miami.
Yeah.
And Carlos Basham Jr., 61 overall. That's still a premium pick. And this is the funny part about the Bills. We've looked at them for so long as the little engine that could.
Yeah.
Right? And I think in November, and this isn't why it happened, but on NFL Network, I said, I think we have to stop that because they're a really good franchise and this is a really good team.
Not just a little cute story.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's not as if their roster was complete, and they admitted that with what they did in this draft, right? You see Rousseau, you see Basham. They still need help on that defensive line, guys. I can think of 2 games in particular last season, 2 losses, 1 critical. Arizona, the Hail Murray.
Yeah, sure.
They would have, know the secondary, didn't play that perfectly on the back end. We all know that, and Leslie Frazier's probably still thinking about it every day now. But the front.
They lost contain.
Yeah. Yes, with Kyler.
Yeah.
Easy to do, I'm sure, but they have to have that. And you throw in last year's, I believe, second-round pick, A.J. Epinesa out of Iowa. They got like 11 tackles and 1 sack from him this year. So you could see some young players really helping that front. And I have to believe that's what Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott are looking for.
Great analysis there, and that'll plug some holes and hopefully get them even further in the AFC East that is revamped and ready to go. Okay, let's take a look at the Dolphins, guys, finally. They needed a wide receiver, an edge rusher, an offensive line, and a running back, and a linebacker, that all according to NFL.com. Listen, it was no secret this team needed a receiver, and they went and they got him. I love it. They got one that has years of chemistry already established with Tua. How can you not love that? This is an entirely revamped situation down in Miami. I'm excited about the passing attack because you not only add Waddle, who's fast and explosive, and he averaged like over 18 yards a catch last year, but you put him with Will Fuller, who's another speedster down there. And what are you doing? You're adding those two and Waddle, a new rookie who's so great. By the way, yeah, those 18.9 yards per catch at Bama were second most in school history, and he was an SEC Special Teams Player of the Year as well. So he's consistently returning to the house and making big plays. So him and Will Fuller, then you add big-bodied Devontae Parker, and then you also have Gesicki down there. Like, what more could you want out of this offense? I am so excited, and it all leads to Tua, and they're surrounding him and doing their thing. And also, I do want to clarify, we thought he, shaded everyone when he got the draft pick and just walked on stage, right?
Yeah.
Not true. Apparently, he did celebrate with his family. He clarified it, and the cameras did not pick it up. We know what that's like.
Yeah, because there was a moment where they called his name, and Nate, you were talking about it after, and he stood up, and his family's all like, and he just beelines right angle. And we're like, whoa, what happened? What was said? Apparently, they already celebrated, and there was a little eye contact, but it was still funny.
Are you changing your tune on Tua a little bit?
Trying to.
You were very sus on him.
I was sus because I thought that Brian Flores was suspect, and it wasn't that Tua struggles, that I think he was benched twice in big moments. But here's why I like this pick. If they had just gotten, let's say, Jamar Chase, all right, great player, great wide receiver, but they specifically got the Tua guy, the chemistry, and also if Tua is going to struggle with these big throws downfield, Waddle is like a dump guy, is like a jet sweep guy, like a comfort pick for Tua. So they really committed to this guy, and there's a couple quarterbacks now, Zach, Mac, Tua, the AFC East is really interesting and really young.
But so has that move, the fact that they let Fitzpatrick walk, all of it, has it changed your tune on Tua?
My tune? Yeah, yes, a little bit. I mean, listen, we'll see that first 3rd and 12 against the Buffalo this year, but Miami is all in on him for sure. I don't know if I am yet.
Well, there's a few quarterbacks that need to grow up this year, and you made a list. I think Tua landed on that list.
Daniel
Jones for sure.
Drew Lock, if he's going to start for sure.
I'll even throw in Carson Wentz on that list.
Sure.
But I believe Tua is at the top because last year it was somewhat of an indictment on him when he was getting benched in some of these big moments, and this older quarterback and Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's a little bit of a journeyman, came in, and he didn't just come in and play well. I think what we noticed as football fans is that there was a different type of energy when Ryan Fitzpatrick was on the field. I believe in Tua.
Confidence too, right?
It's confidence too.
Yeah.
And I love that Flores is giving Tua everything that he needs this season, and he's going to be better. I already heard he's stronger. He's faster. He's going to be more explosive. And now he had another year in the belt. You went through your rookie lumps, which every quarterback goes through. This is a big season for Tua.
I feel like we're seeing teams be really smart and building around these quarterbacks and not saying to the first or second year quarterback,
do it all.
Yeah, exactly. Do it on your own, buddy, just like sometimes you did in college. We saw it with Cincinnati. They went and got Jamar Chase. You talk about the Alabama guys going Alabama. They went LSU there.
I wonder if
when they could have gone tackle.
And
I don't think there was a way they were ever going to go Pitts because he was going to be gone. But they went with the receiver who was 21.2 yards per catch from Joe Burrow when they were both at LSU. We are seeing that the Giants really committed to helping Daniel Jones, which is why I sat here Friday and said there are no more excuses because there aren't. Everything he needs around him has been built for him. I think at the very, very, very early stages, the Jets are going to commit to doing that. And I think that the Vera Tucker pick was one of them because you could have gone sexier. But Joe Douglas told us, we'll probably get into this later, or I may mention it again later, who knows. He was top 10 on their board, Nate. Now, was he a top 10 player in this draft? I'm sure some teams would argue no. Many teams would argue no. For the Jets, he was top 10 on their board, and they got him. So we're seeing finally quarterbacks get some help.
Yeah.
There are these
Because
young
it's
guys,
working.
you know, wading upstream on their own.
Yeah, like Stephon Diggs, huge help from Josh Allen. They see that and it works. I wonder how quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers view this, all this help being given to their offenses. I wonder if it plays into it. I wonder, truly. Tom Brady, his last year with the Patriots, wasn't quite the case there, was it?